My dear friends, my wife and I just went and saw the movie Poor Things, and boy, I wish we hadn't. It's the first movie I remember getting up and walking out of. Now, why is that? I mean, you take a look at the cast. You got Emma Stone, Willem Dafoe, Mark Ruffalo, who personally might be a douche, but he's a good actor. And check it out. The trailer looked interesting, and it's got an 8.4 out of 10 rating on IMDb. It's got a high rating on Rotten Tomatoes, both for the critics and for the audience. And what I thought I was going to get was Wes Anderson's Bride of Frankenstein by Gaslight. What I actually got was art house sci-fi pedophilia. And no, I'm not exaggerating this in the slightest. The core premise of the movie is that Emma Stone's character, whose body is that of an adult woman, is in fact the brain of an unborn child. And within the first 30 minutes of the movie, Emma Stone's character figures out how to pleasure herself, which, I mean, kids do that. But we don't make movies about it because that's weird to make movies about, and pedo. But had this just been a running gag where she kept touching herself in public and her handlers would try to stop her and tell her, no, we don't do that. Okay, that might have been a joke that worked. But no. Before we even left the theater, Willem Dafoe's character confesses that he wished he could fuck her. Now, mind you, he knows exactly where that brain came from because he put it in Emma Stone's body. His assistant, his Igor character, admits that he wants to fuck her and is going to marry her, but only if she wants to do it. The brain is from an unborn child. It can't consent. It doesn't know what it wants. And then Mark Ruffalo, within 5 minutes of him showing up on screen, perhaps unsurprisingly, goes and finds her and then touches her in the no-no spot. So my wife had decided that this was creepy when the incident with her figuring out how to pleasure herself came up, and I thought, well, maybe it's going to be that joke. Give it a few more minutes. Within the next 3 lines delivered, Willem Dafoe starts talking about wanting to fuck the kid. But he can't because he's a eunuch. So within 35 minutes, we were like, no, we're not going to sit here and watch a movie that is the thinnest veil spread across pedophilia. Now, let me read you the description at the top of IMDb so you can see where this is a surprise to me. By the way, if you can't tell, I am as dead set against pedophilia and abusing children as you possibly can be. I think it ought to be perfectly legal to kill pedophiles. And you know what? Even if it's not legal, well, unjust laws aren't meant to be followed. So, the incredible tale about the fantastical evolution of Bella Baxter, a young woman brought back to life by the brilliant and unorthodox scientist Dr. Godwin Baxter. And Emma Stone's character continually refers to Willem Dafoe's character, Godwin Baxter, as God. So, the lines of the movie are framing it to where God wants to fuck a child but can't because he doesn't have a penis. So, unsurprisingly, this has been nominated for 11 Oscars, which, go ahead, Hollywood, tell on yourself harder. We know you're chock full of sex pests, rapists, and child molesters. You're giving it the top awards you possibly can. But let me scroll down IMDb, because that's where I'm at, and read to you a broader storyline description that I wasn't aware of from filmmaker Yorgos Lanthimos and producer Emma Stone. So she put money behind this. She is enabling this and thought this needed to happen. Comes the incredible tale and fantastical evolution of Bella Baxter, Stone. A young woman brought back to life by the brilliant and unorthodox scientist Dr. Godwin Baxter, Willem Dafoe. Under Baxter's protection, Bella is eager to learn. Hungry for the worldliness she is lacking, Bella runs off with Duncan Wedderburn, Mark Ruffalo, a slick and debauched lawyer, on a whirlwind adventure across the continents. Free from the prejudices of her time, Bella grows steadfast in her purpose to stand for equality and liberation. That's the kind of language that pedos use and have used, as long as the commies have been teamed up with the pedos to advance child molestation worldwide. Okay, and here's a cool bit of trivia. An alternate version exists. The UK version was cut in one sex scene. She's got the brain of a newborn child. Actually, an unborn child. To secure an 18 rating, the cuts were made to the scene because it was in the presence of children within the movie. Yes, Emma Stone put money into a movie and starred in a movie where there's sex between probably an adult and an animated corpse with the brain of an unborn child in it. So I'm actually surprised that the Brits said, hey, don't do that, especially after Jimmy Savile and so many of their elites being well-known pedophiles. So good on you, UK. You finally did something right. And a Disney employee, Disney, they like pedophilia. A Disney employee confirmed that this was a very early unfinished version of the movie when this was submitted to the BBFC, and the final version will now be the cut version that will be released globally. They tried to get away with it and didn't. And they filmed it. They put money into it, and a whole set full of adults decided they were going to put on a sex scene in front of kids. Fuck this movie. You know, it is a hard thing to do to get a cinemaphile like me to find a reason to disrespect Willem Dafoe, maybe one of the greatest actors of all time. But having heard the lines that came out of his mouth, he agreed to say those lines. Like I said, my wife and I, we have very broad taste, and we can tolerate a whole lot of awful shit in the name of artistic expression. For comparison, there's this old horror movie called Lamora, A Child's Tale of the Supernatural. And you follow a fairly well-developed teenage girl named Lamora, who the bad guys in the movie all look at her with lust in their eyes. No one ever does anything, but it helps cement that these are the bad guys. And the movie doesn't have the awful taste to depict child molestation. So, okay, that could be acceptable. And there's been all kinds of awful things that I've seen, such as Hereditary. Holy shit, that movie's awful and haunting and will probably traumatize me till the day I die. And I mean, David Lynch's Fire Walk with Me. Technically, that's an underage girl as Laura Palmer, but the evil things are clearly evil things. The bad things happening to her are clearly undesirable, and the bad guys are the ones doing them. I have no thought in my mind that David Lynch endorses pedophilia. I don't. But I could accept all those awful things in the name of free expression and artistic innovation. However, pedophilia is not covered by any of those things. Every person involved in this movie deserves to go to jail. And, you know, Hollywood, all you Hollywood actors, especially Mark Ruffalo, you've been a douchebag forever. But all the people that made this movie happen, how could they not have known what they were doing? They knew what they were doing, and they were putting it out there. You can't get any more in the open with what you want to do. And it's disgusting, and I hope you get right with God. Jesus saves.